Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Dave, for that warm introduction. But more importantly, thank you for your stewardship of the Blue-Green Alliance. The Alliance is in the right place at the right time as America turns the corner toward a cleaner energy future powered by a highly skilled workforce. And thank you also to Gina McCarthy, a true professional at the helm of the EPA, who understands the need for collaboration as America turns the corner. Now, Administrator McCarthy mentioned her Massachusetts accent. She's from Boston, so you'll get a little bit of that from me. But I'm from the southern part of Massachusetts, so you'll hear a little bit of a drawl in my remarks today. I am here, most of all, ladies and gentlemen, as a witness. I have come to offer testimony, firsthand testimony, that America's green job future lies within our reach. That future is playing out now in the city of New Bedford, where new green industries are laying the foundation to rebuild a great American city. Let me tell you a little bit about our story. New Bedford, as I said, is on the southern coast of Massachusetts. We are a city of approximately 100,000 people, centering a metropolitan area of about 250,000. We are a manufacturing city, we are a tourism city, and we are proud to say that we are the largest commercial fishing port in the United States. But we are best known as the one-time center of the American whaling industry. In the mid-19th century, New Bedford's whaling fleet launched more voyages than all other American ports combined, leading New Bedford to being known as the city that lit the world. The industry was so successful that on the eve of the Civil War, New Bedford was the wealthiest city per capita in the United States. At the same time, investment in the textile industries had already begun, and when the whale fishery declined, the looms and the mills continued to drive the city's economy for decades. But by the mid-20th century, New Bedford, like many mid-sized American cities, struggled to meet the daunting challenges in adapting its largely textile-based economy in the post-war era. Like many other cities over the past 40 years, New Bedford has witnessed a steady contraction of its traditional manufacturing base. Our unemployment rate has stubbornly remained in the double digits throughout this entire period. As we look to regenerate our city as a place that attracts substantial private sector investment and creates good-paying jobs, creates good-paying union jobs, we again look to the winds off our coast that propelled those whalers in the 19th century. Those same winds are now an abundant and inexhaustible resource that can serve as the foundation of the offshore wind industry in America. The area off the northeast coast just south of Martha's Vineyard is one of the most consistently windy places on the planet, and New Bedford is the closest industrial port. Closest industrial port, and that energy that consists of roughly 25% of the nation's wind reserves in total has the capacity to light literally millions of homes. Under the leadership of President Obama and Governor Patrick, federal and state policies are moving us closer to the predictability needed for the private sector to invest in the offshore wind industry and create literally tens of thousands of jobs in manufacturing and maritime industries. None of this, ladies and gentlemen, is pie in the sky. We need to look no further than Northern Europe, where just 15 years ago, European governments put into place the incentive framework that is similar to what's in place today in the United States. This resulted in hundreds of millions of dollars in private investment and thousands of new direct and indirect jobs in a supply chain that runs from the shop floor to the boardroom, from the retail store to front to the waterfront. I have seen evidence of this myself. Last year, I led a trade delegation to Northern Europe to places like Bremerhaven and Cuxhaven, Germany, where the offshore wind industry has taken root. These port cities, in many respects much like New Bedford, have had unemployment rates in the last 10 years that topped 25%. And both now are down to about 10 or 11% thanks to the investment in the offshore wind industry. It was inspiring to see mid-sized cities much like mine come back to life. And it is especially exciting to walk through their new factories in which once unemployed union members are earning a solid living to support their families. It is inspiring to see new jobs created literally overnight. Men and women welding, men and women running barges, men and women assembling turbines. It was all very real and could be all very real here in the United States in the coming years. In New Bedford, when it comes to clean energy, we are not waiting for things to happen. We are making them happen. We have acted aggressively to support the development of the offshore wind industry and the job creation this new green industry can bring to our city and others across the nation. We have worked with our state partners on key infrastructure investments, especially the New Bedford Marine Commerce Terminal, the first purpose-built terminal for offshore wind in the entire United States. The terminal is the result of a $100 million state investment and is engineered to sustain mobile crane and storage loads that rival the highest capacity port facilities in the entire world. Massachusetts, together with our city, are making the kinds of infrastructure investments that set the conditions for job growth. We have created the New Bedford Wind Energy Center, a single entity in the city fully focused on supporting the development of the offshore wind industry and ensuring that this development fits the city's comprehensive economic agenda. And with us today on the crowd somewhere is Matt Morrissey, the director of the Wind Energy Center, whom you'll hear from tomorrow on the panel on offshore wind. We have advocated for sound national policies and incentives to grow the industry, such as extending the investment tax credit, which we're all familiar with. We have also advocated for pro-growth policies that offshore wind projects sign power purchase agreements for renewable energy. And we have worked closely with our partners from private, nonprofit, and education sectors to ensure that our students have the right science and math skills for the jobs of the future. And we have built deep relationships with the offshore wind industry leaders such as Cape Wind, Siemens, and Deepwater Wind to ensure that the jobs of the future exist in our city. Importantly, most importantly, we have worked hand in glove with our partners in organized labor to ensure that the trades are well represented in the offshore wind industry and that our residents have a real pathway to enter the trades in offshore wind and for other important paying industries. Specifically, our efforts on the Cape Wind project, which have included the establishment of a project labor agreement, should be a model for the rest of the country as the offshore wind industry emerges about how labor and government and the private sector can work together toward common goals. By investing in infrastructure, education, and partnerships, New Bedford has positioned itself at the center of this new national industry. As a pipeline of $1 billion worth of offshore projects, starting with the Cape Wind project, which is right on the goal line right now, are deployed from our harbor, thousands of direct and indirect jobs will be created. This pipeline will also build the foundation for the offshore wind component manufacturing sector in our city. A game-changing opportunity for our city to create hundreds more new jobs will transform our city and our region for the long run. And by the way, it's not just about offshore wind for us in New Bedford. We have aggressively put in motion a series of power purchase agreements in which the City of New Bedford will purchase literally 3/4 of its electricity from renewable sources, putting us ahead of every municipality of our size east of the Mississippi. This, too, is creating hundreds of local jobs. Through strong collaboration between government, businesses, labor, and nonprofits, we can create good jobs here in America while developing renewable energy and combating global climate change. We're doing it in New Bedford, where we are reclaiming our historic title as the city that lit the world, and at the same time, we hope, helping to inspire blue-green victories all across America. Thank you very much, everybody.